Dear students, welcome to the class on uterine relaxant. In this class, we shall learn about the tocolytics. So coming to the specific learning objective, at the end of the session, you should be able to define uterine relaxant, classify uterine relaxant, be able to discuss the role of adrenergic agonist as well as calcium channel blocker as an uterine relaxant. So coming to the definition of uterine relaxant, these are the agent which will going to relax the myometrium, thereby decreasing the uterine motility. This action will be beneficial in delaying or postponing the labor or to arrest the threatened abortion and in case of dysmenorrhea. So mainly decrease in uterine motility will suppress the premature labor. So coming to the MCQ, uterine relaxants are also known as, answer is tocolytic. All others, oxytocics, ecobolics and abortifacients are the other name for uterine stimulants. So coming to the classification of uterine relaxants, when it can be classified into adrenergic agonists, example Rytodrin, salbutamol, terbutaline, isoxsuprine, and next you have calcium channel blocker, example is nifedipine. Next you have oxytocin antagonist, that is atosiban, and miscellaneous group of drugs. You have magnesium sulfate, progesterone, nitrates, halothane, and also there is one more drug, that is indomethacin. So next, coming to the uses of uterine relaxants, it is used to delay or postpone the labor, to arrest the threatened abortion, and in case of treating dysmenorrhea. So why we need to suppress the premature labor? So mainly to allow fetus to mature, and also it gives a time for administration of glucocorticoids. It will be administered to the mother, so thereby it helps in fetal lung maturation, and also it gives a time to transfer the mother in labor to a center with proper facilities. So what will be the fetal outcome with these uterine relaxant? So none of these uterine relaxant has been shown to improve the fetal outcome. So what are the parameters which will likely succeed when you attempt to delay the premature labor? One is if the cervical dilatation is less than 4 centimeters. If it is less than 4 centimeters and taking up of lower segment should be minimal. So coming to the conditions where you need to avoid using uterine relaxant, or you should avoid attempting to delay the labor. So those conditions are when membrane is already ruptured, if there is a antepartum hemorrhage, if there is a severe toxemia of pregnancy, if there is a intrauterine infections, or there is a fetal death, you should not use uterine relaxant to delay the labor. So coming to the adrenergic agonist, Rytodrin is a selective beta-2 agonist which activates the beta-2 receptor, thereby activating adenyl cyclase, which helps in conversion of ATP to cyclic AMP. This cyclic AMP accumulation will lead to the activation of protein kinase A, which helps in sequestration of the calcium into the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which lead to the relaxation of the smooth muscle, thereby it inhibits the contraction, or it opposes the contraction. So Rytodrin has got prominent uterine relaxant action, and thereby it suppresses the premature labor and delays the labor. So what will be the dose of Rytodren? 50 micrograms per minute in the form of IV infusion, and dose can be increased every 10 minutes till, this is very important, till uterine contraction ceases or maternal heart rate rises to 120 beats per minute. So what will be the dose which can be administered to keep the contraction suppressed? You can continue the IV infusion, or you can give 10 milligram intramuscularly 4 to 6th hourly, followed by 10 milligram orally 4 to 6th hourly. So there is one more important thing you should remember while using Rytodren, that is Rytodren should not be administered beyond 48 hours because it can increases the risk of maternal and fetal side effects or complications. So whenever you use a Rytodren as a uterine relaxant, it will postpone the labor by hours to week. So what are the side effects which are associated with Rytodren? One is cardiovascular side effect and second is metabolic side effects. Under cardiovascular side effect, it can cause fall in blood pressure, which can lead to tachycardia, increase in heart rate. It can cause arrhythmias. It can cause pulmonary edema. Metabolic complication, it can lead to hyperglycemia, it can lead to hyperinsulinemia, can lead to hypokalemia. Apart from that, it can also cause anxiety, restlessness, and also headache. So next, coming to the fetal complications, it can cause fetal pulmonary edema. That's why whenever using Rytodren, you have to keep the IV fluids reduced. So thereby it prevents the volume overload. And also it can cause hypoglycemia, it can cause ileus and fetus. So what are the contraindications? If the mother is diabetic, or if she has any heart disease, if she is on any beta blockers or on steroid, these are the contraindications for the use of Rytodren. So what are the alternative drugs which are available in place of Rytodren? You have salbutamol, next you have terbutaline, next you have isoxsuprine, which can be given through oral or IM through arrest the abortion, to stop threatened abortion. So coming to the calcium channel blocker, this calcium channel blocker example, nifedipine will going to reduce the tone of uterine muscle, that is tone of myometrium. How? By inhibiting the calcium influx. By inhibiting the calcium influx, they are going to reduce the tone of uterine muscle, thereby opposing the contraction of uterine smooth muscle. Thereby it produces prominent smooth muscle relaxation. The efficacy of these calcium channel blockers are comparable to beta 2 adrenergic agonist. So what will be the dose of calcium channel blocker to produce uterine relaxation? Orally you can give 10 milligrams, and after 20 to 30 minutes you can repeat it, followed by can administer 10 milligram 6th hourly. So what are the side effects which are associated with calcium channel blocker? It can cause fall in blood pressure, can lead to tachycardia, and also it will arrest the reduced placental perfusion, thereby it decreases fetal hypoxia. So coming to the oxytocin antagonist example is atosiban, which is a peptide analog of oxytocin. It blocks the oxytocin receptors. The route of administration is IV infusion to suppress the premature uterine contraction and postpone the premature preterm delivery. So it has got, remember, when compared to ritodrine beta adrenergic agonist, it has got fewer cardiovascular and metabolic side effects. This atosiban has to be administered between 24 to 33 weeks of gestation. This may offer better benefit risk ratio than other tocolytics, but this drug is not approved for use in India. So coming to the magnesium sulfate, this magnesium sulfate is infused through IV route for as a first line drug for both prevention as well as treatment of seizures, especially in case of preeclampsia and eclampsia. Apart from this also has got tocolytic effect by competing with calcium ion entry into the myometrium through both the channels, that is voltage sensitive as well as the ligate gated calcium channels. But one thing you should remember, the use of magnesium sulfate to delay the premature labor is very risky because it can increase the perinatal mortality. It will increase the perinatal mortality. That's why it is not recommended now. So coming to the other group of drugs, ethyl alcohol can be used, nitrates can be used, progesterone can be used, and also general anesthetic like halothane can be used, and also the indomethacin. Indomethacin is a prostaglandin synthesis inhibitor, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Why this indomethacin is not used? Because if it is used, it can lead to renal dysfunction, and also it will delay the closure of ductus arteriosus. So these two, renal development as well as the closure of ductus arteriosus, are under the influence of prostaglandin. And also these drugs and their effects are not dependable, so that's why they are not used clinically. And coming to the one important aspect, that is halothane. Halothane is used as a anesthetic for both internal as well as external version because it is a effective tocolytic. So it produces uterine relaxation very effectively. So coming to the summary of tocolytics. So tocolytics means these are drugs which reduces the uterine motility or the uterine contraction. Example, you have adrenergic agonist. Example are ritodrine, salbutamol, terbutaline, isosapropyl is going to increase the adrenal cyclase activity, thereby increasing the cyclic AMP, thereby causing relaxation of the smooth muscle. The dose is 50 micrograms intravenous infusion every 10 minutes. And how long you should give till uterine contraction ceases or maternal heart rate rises to 120 per minute. And thereafter, to keep the contraction suppressed, you can give 10 milligram IV 4 to 6 hourly followed by 10 milligram orally. And remember, it should not be administered beyond 48 hours because it increases the side effects like cardiovascular side effect, that is fall in blood pressure, tachycardia, arrhythmia, as well as pulmonary edema, metabolic complications like hyperglycemia, hyperinsulinemia, and hypokalemia. Fetal complications, or it can lead to fetal edema, hypoglycemia, ileus, and these drugs, that is adrenergic agonists, are contraindicated in diabetic mother if there is a heart disease, if she is on beta blocker as well as steroids. The next is the calcium channel blocker. You have nifedipine. It prevents the calcium influx, thereby it opposes the contraction. The efficacy is similar to the beta 2 agonist. The dose is 10 milligram orally. It can be repeated after 20 to 30 minutes and followed by 10 milligram 6 hourly. What are the side effects? It can cause tachycardia, hypotension, and it improves the fetal perfusion, that is placental perfusion will be increased, thereby reduces the fetal hypoxia. Then we have oxytocin antagonist, atosibam. It is given through IV infusion. It has got fewer side effects with respect to cardiovascular and metabolic, and it should be given in between 24 to 33 weeks of gestation. Next you have magnesium sulfate. It is used through IV infusion. So it is a primary first line drugs for the prevention and treatment of seizure in case of preeclampsia and eclampsia. It also has tocolytic effect because it competes with calcium ions for entry into the myometrium through voltage as well as the ligand gated calcium channel, thereby it relaxes uterus. Though it can relax the uterus, its use to delay the premature labor is very risky because it can increase the perinatal mortality. Other drugs used as a tocolytics are ethyl alcohol, nitrate, progesterone, general anesthetic like allothane, and we have indomethacin. One thing about indomethacin is indomethacin being a prostaglandin synthesis inhibitor, it can cause renal dysfunction and also it can delay the closure of ductus arteriosus. So these two things are under the influence of prostaglandins. And one more very important thing you should know is regarding halothane. Halothane is used as an anesthetic agent for external and internal version because halothane is an efficacious uterine relaxant. Thank you.